To Active Citizens Parliament. My name is Sharon Chuku. Joining me live in the studio, I have with me my co-host in person of Ifoma Oji. Good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening, Sharon. I'm doing great.
We can see that. Also joining us live in the studio, I have with us here Mr. Ugochukwu Afuba. Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
Good evening. I'm fine.
I can see that you're matching the aesthetic of the studio.
Yes.
All right. Now this is the energy I want us to maintain as we go straight to the video that has been trending just barely few hours ago today, involving Nyesom Wike, FCT minister, and some soldiers over a land dispute in Abuja. Let's take a look.
Can you take us back to when this started and what this is all about?
Well, it's unfortunate.
So let me request to enlighten me. So there's no such thing as a former vice president. Vice admiral is vice admiral.
I'm sorry. Show me the document you have. You have no document. Bring the document.
I have documents and everything has been submitted.
Excuse me, I'm the minister. You cannot tell me. You cannot tell me that. We cannot continue to add in this impunity. Where the approval even to people. You cannot continue this way. This country cannot continue along this line. How can that man at his level, even if he has a problem, he cannot reach me and say, look, I'm sorry, see what I have. You will send soldiers to intimidate who? We are all from this country. And this is government. You cannot be higher than any government. You cannot be carrying gun to intimidate people to not to do their work. Let me tell you, if not government chief of defense staff who spoke to me here, you could have killed everybody here. No problem. I'm not one of those that they can intimidate.
On the contrary,
I'm doing my job.
We are not intimidating anybody.
That's what you're doing.
The civilian, the engineer mobilized to site, and then staff or workers of SED look at this.
No, listen now.
That is threatening them. And that was when the admiral gave the order.
He cannot give order against government.
Because the papers are complete and he said it's submitted
are you
them.
the one, listen, you know the problem you have. Are you the one that will say, paper, what will show me that you are what? First of all, show me that government gave you this place. Two, show me that you have an approval to build what you are building. It has nothing to do with I'm a vice admiral, I'm a lieutenant general. That is not it. We must work according to law. We must work according to law. So you
no, you cannot tell like this. Don't tell like this. Don't you try it. I said it. Don't try it. Don't try it. Don't tell me this. Keep quiet. Look at me. I'm lying. I'm more than you. Don't interrupt me. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? I'm ignorant. I'm so
I am a small boy, but the commission of panelists can never very focused. Those who come and paint civilians. How do I face him? How do I face him? This is not professional. It's not professional. You can't be facing the minister with this thing. It's okay.
Just saw that video, and I believe everybody at this point in Nigeria has seen that trending video of Nyesom Wike having a back and forth with soldiers at a particular land in Abuja. Just to give a backstory in case you didn't hear properly what was said in that video, apparently an order was given by whom we do not currently know to the army and the officers that were on ground there to develop that particular land. Now, Nyesom Wike came down with his people asking who gave them the order, who gave them permission to carry out their development on that particular land, which led to that whole brouhaha going on as we saw in the video. We also saw people interfering. We saw the bodyguards and the police officers, and it was just a really chaotic experience. Now, briefly, let me start with you. What was your first reaction when you saw that video? Because I know Wike is your favorite politician.
You know, somebody that has always kind of been in the business of grabbing a lot of land. If you ask the people of FCT, they will tell you that he has constantly revoked titles, land titles in Abuja with one useless excuse or the other that he wants to develop what I don't know. And we equally heard that, I mean, some land, he has allocated some land to his family, his children, you understand? And these are people that have been in possession of these land papers for a very long time. He just came, revoked their title, started demolishing a lot of this thing. We heard about the village that he demolished, you know, this thing unlawfully without due process. You get, so it's, for me, I wouldn't, if I'm to tell the part of professionalism, I would tell you that I would provide a lot of angles to this. But if I'm to talk as a Nigerian citizen, I would tell you that I actually love what was going on there. It's more like somebody that always grab land. It is more like a payback for him. You could see what was going on, the back and forth between him and the military personnel. He was asking the military personnel who gave you the order to guard this particular land, and he said that he got the order from above. You understand? And we were seeing Wike constantly trying to intimidate him, and the man remaining calm.
Let me just wrap that up. Before we get the full perspective. Now, Mr. Ugochukwu, what was your first thought when you saw that video?
I was confused, but then I had to pay more attention to the whole video and understand what was going on. And from everything I saw, it is clear that Wike he wanted to use his office to abuse power. It's not even a new thing. He has been doing it time and time again. But then this time around, it seems the people who were on the other side were not normal civilians who he could easily intimidate. So that's what I think. All
right, now you just thought that this was a normal or a recurrent situation where Nyesom Wike abuses power. Ever since this particular video went viral, you know, it has garnered a lot of attention, and we've fortunately been able to get Wike's part of the story, which is what we're about to look at, and then we'll return to the studio for a proper dissection.
Can you take us back to when this started and what this is all about?
Well, it's unfortunate. And these are the kind of things that the task development. We are aware that the land department and the development control has been mandated to see where the illegal development going on and land grabbing. And when this was brought to my attention, I did instruct them to make sure that nothing takes place in as much as they do not have any legal papers in terms of legal approval or even acquisition of the land. And when they came here, I was informed that the soldiers of the ability had to chase them away. And I thought probably they will be acting illegally. And so today, when I was in the office, while they came to implement the directive that was given to them by myself, I was called that the military had taken over the place. And I had to come by myself to see things myself. Is it unfortunate? And you heard what the officer said was said by the former chief of naval staff. And I don't understand how somebody who attained that position, I see that he has a problem, cannot approach my office to say, look, this is what is going on, this is what is going on. Or simply because he's a military man, he could use that to intimidate Nigerians. I'm not one of those kind of persons that will succumb to blackmail or intimidation. And you can imagine where you cannot even prove where are the documents. And the director of the Bureau of Control said, look, I was here. I said, bring the documents. You don't have the documents. Bring the approval for building. You don't have it. And how can we continue to allow lawlessness to prevail in this country? What about those who don't have the military? What about
All right, we just saw that response from Nyesom Wike, and I'm starting with you, Mr. Ugochukwu. Let's also take a look at that first video, the whole back and forth with the soldiers and Nyesom Wike. There were some really interesting comments that Wike made, and he said that you can't intimidate me, and that you can go ahead and buy all of us. And the soldier kept talking back and saying, oh, they're not here to kill, that they are just acting based on order. And I want us to take a look at that whole conversation, because it just captures where we are security wise and the harmony that we have between the army and the police force in Nigeria.
Intimidation, really? I doubt. It was if we listened further to that video, there was a point where Wike was saying, sorry, the Honorable Minister Wike. Okay. There was a point where the Honorable Minister Wike was saying that if not for, I didn't hear that right, we would have killed all of you here. That's how can we be hearing things like that from? No,
I think he meant you can't kill all of us. He's talking to the army people and saying, oh, you can't kill all of us.
Maybe I didn't hear right. I thought that was what.
Maybe you can let us know in the comment section. We watch the video and let us know.
but Wike's action there, it shows so much unprofessionalism for someone who is the minister of the FCT. Minister of the FCT is just like a governor of a state. So imagine a governor confronting with the army in the highest unprofessional way. We could even see the military personnel trying to be professional, still bold.
Yes,
being bold does not mean you take laws into your hands and then abuse power and abuse your office. The military man, he could have, since he said he was acting on orders, he could have just shifted them from the property. But he didn't do that. He was calmly trying to explain with the FCT minister. But then the FCT minister and his people, they wanted to take everything by force because they've been used to grabbing land, snatching lands, and doing whatever they want in Abuja.
So this is just a case where they thought they could repeat that. Let's take your take on this, right? This particular exchange between the Nigerian army, and also we saw a bit of an exchange between the Nigerian police force. The soldier saying, I'm talking, and the policeman is talking. Comments like that. The whole exchange.
I think this is rather an interesting sight to behold, to be honest. We know how, the police, when we talk about brutality, how they kind of intimidate and persecute every Nigerians on the street or on the road. And we know how the FCT minister have constantly intimidated people, both on the media space, that is on social media, on Arise News, on TVC, and the rest of them. The way he talks to people, he doesn't have an atom of professionalism or filter. So having him in this position with a military personnel is, for me, quite interesting, in as much as I'll still have to talk about a lot of things here. But I love the fact that the military personnel maintained his ground. He was calm, he was professional, but he was firm about what he was trying to, you know, explain to him. And he didn't do it in a manner that was quite disrespectful to the FCT minister. He maintained, honorable sir, this I was actually on order, acting on order, you understand? And the FCT minister asked him for the legal paper for the land, and he said he has everything. You get, but where I'm really faulting the FCT minister is where he said that he could have killed the military personnel, they could have killed everybody there. And for me, it was looking like he was trying to paint a narrative of intimidation. Yes, trying to incite that, okay, these people are trying to, because of the fact that they have more power, they are military personnel, they are trying to intimidate them, or rather incite a different or create a different narrative. But we are seeing that with high professionalism, the military personnel there kind of stood his ground. And then again, the police officer that was there that was trying to say, you know, some badadash to a military personnel, the military personnel calmly still put him in his place. You have no right to talk to me. You are my junior. So I can't be talking and you are talking, in as much as it looks as if it was more like a power tussle. But I love how he was able to comport himself and still deliver his message. That aside, now the issue of the FCT minister and the former naval officer, the land dispute they are having, you've already provided the background. I think it is within the FC minister's right to protect lands in FCT. That is that side. And then the military former naval officer on his own side, we already saw that it's actually his land, and he has the information, prior information, that this man is good, at grabbing land.
So that is why in that video he said, oh, why couldn't he come to my office, or why couldn't he meet me personally to address this issue? Now, why did he have to use, you know, naval force? And I want to start from Ugochukwu before I come to you. Now that statement, right, you know, Nyesom Wike coming from the point of view that the former naval officer could have just address this personally with him instead of protecting his property using, you know, armed soldiers. What does that mean to you?
Oh, so now Wike wants to talk in an office after he has been humiliated. The FCT minister, he's a notorious land snatcher. It's in him. We've seen it time and time again. People have complained of being victims from his habits of taking people's land since he became the FCT minister. We've been seeing controversies all over the place about even the cases of how he allocates land to his family, to his children and the wife. So now for what they are saying from the video I watched and reports I've read both on channels and the rise, I think the case is, Wike is to be faulted here, because him saying why couldn't the former naval officer come to, it is Wike should have, if he wants to do anything on the property of the naval officer, he should have invited the naval officer to his place so that they can, or even serve him papers saying that you need, that the government, because it's not Wike, it's the government that needs the property, or they need not coming to his place, maybe do it, maybe even demolish the place.
I think I also want to get to Ugochukwu's thoughts on this, right? Before I come to Informer now, there's something again that we saw in that particular video where we have always seen Wike being somebody that you said, you know, grabs land in the past in Abuja. Now let's also talk about him as the FCT minister, acting in the capacity of the FCT minister, you know, in that video that we saw. Do you think that the entire exchange, both with the police officers, I also saw the bodyguards of Wike as well, we saw the armed police officers, and there was a comment the bodyguard of Wike made. He said, oh, this is not professional, this is not professional, you can't be holding arms while talking to the minister. You understand? Those were the comments that the bodyguard made. So let's if we were to give a scorecard on professionalism on what we saw in that video, what would you give it?
Wike and his team, they were the ones acting unprofessionally. That is the truth. Because if they want, I don't want to say if Wike wanted to use the land. He has no business in people's land. If the government, through the office of the FCT minister, wanted to use the land, like I rightfully said, there are many ways they can peacefully do that. Serve a letter to the owner of the property, or even invite the person who owns the property. From what I'm seeing here, he wanted to use his power and his office to intimidate whoever owns the property. Let's even leave the fact that it's a former naval officer who owns the land. Let's consider he's an ordinary civilian.
Forget it.
So that was intimidation, abuse of power. There are amicable ways he could have done it. So if a police officer from Governor Wike's security detail is speaking about unprofessionalism, then you know that he himself is talking down on Wike, because we saw it was Wike who acted unprofessionally. You can't tell military personnel to put down their guns. Like they said, they were already
armed before coming to the. So you expect them to strip themselves of the arms because they are talking to the FCT
So we saw the DSS, as you can even see right now, trying to even engage the soldiers in a physical brawl. Right now, still the same question I asked to Gochuku. Let's talk about the professionalism that was displayed in that video for both Wike's security detail and that of the Nigerian Armed Force. You know, what would you rate it? And let's also take a look at how Wike suggested that the former naval officer resolve the issue.
You know, if this was to be a normal or an ordinary citizen, this wouldn't have been the case. They would have stopped that work. They wouldn't even have worked there, developed anything in the first place. So I think if we look inward, you could see that the former naval officer already know that if he uses the police, that he's not going to get, you know, positive return or positive results at the end. And that is why he used the military personnel, because he already knows the kind of person that Wike is. And then talking about him visiting Wike in the first place to develop his land, if truly that land is his own, he does not need Wike's approval to develop his land. The only people that he needs, if he has the legal papers, he does not need anybody's, you know, approval in the first place. And then talking about professionalism, if we are to talk about professionalism here, the only person that I'm seeing that is acting unruly and unlawfully is Wike and his team. You understand? You could see that the other person was saying he was using arms. Did the person make use of the arm? Did he uncock the gun? He didn't make use of the gun. He was talking calmly and he was trying to coordinate his team so that everything. I think what they were trying to do here, they were trying to incite violence and they were trying to make it escalate.
Look like, because
they were trying to escalate the entire thing.
I'm older than you.
Yes, and he told the military personnel to shut up, that he's talking to him. Why will you tell him to shut up? You're talking and you're asking him question. He is supposed to counter your argument, or rather provide answers to what you're asking him, but you're telling him to shut up. It goes a long way to show you, because of the fact that you are in position of power, you can misuse it and use it at your disposal, which at this point we are seeing that at least military personnel can actually stand up to their rights irrespective of who gave them the order in the first place.
You know, still talking about land grabbing, this issue has been a long-standing, these allegations against the FCT minister, you know, about him going about grabbing people's lands. And there is a valid point that you have both made today, that if this was a normal civilian, how would this have escalated, or what would have been the outcome? We know that the former naval officer has connections in his favor, he has the money, he has the power in his favor, where he had soldiers securing his land and his property. Now, what is the fate of an ordinary civilian in such situations?
Yeah, this particular event calls for you know, accountability and scrutiny from the office of the FCT minister. You know, you cannot be abusing power like this. And you know what I think? This is a clear case of greediness. This is a clear case of greediness. Now let's talk about the FCT minister. We all know Wike. He's a rich politician. In fact, a rich man at that, who has served as a 2-term governor and then presently serving as an FCT minister. And I am yet to understand. We've been hearing cases of Wike grabbing people's land what exactly
do you want
does he intend to do with the land? Because I have understood that if Wike stops working today, the money he has will be enough. Not the money he has, the money he stole will be enough.
Exactly.
Will be enough for his next maybe 2 generations even. So this is a clear case of greediness, and when you can never be contented with what you have, that's he has been blinded so much by power and selfish ambition. You just want more. You are not doing anything with it.
What's more appalling is the fact that all this land that he has, all this acquisition, both monetarily and the rest of them, is not showing in his body.
Wow, you don't see body shaming yourself.
What I'm trying to say is, if you are living large, if you have this kind of money that this man have, I promise you, if I had this kind of money, I would be living large. You see my skin popping. I would be looking the way he is looking. I was looking at him at Arise TVC channel, and I'm like, is this the FCT minister? Why is he drying up like this? For me, I feel like it's his nemesis that are catching up with him.
We're also talking about, right? There's also a statement that we heard in that video. The FCT minister Wike kept demanding for documents from the security personnel there, from the officer there, and he pointed to someone and he said, "Oh, I already sent this via this to this person," and the man fled up. I'm talking of Wike's aid team now, fled up and started accusing and pointing fingers. I wanted to go into a fight. I don't know, maybe a fight with the soldier, an armed soldier, and it was
I
quite
really know.
interesting to see.
I know this.
But at that moment, right? Yes, Wike coming out to demand documentation. What's your take on that, Ugochukwu?
It is okay that he's demanding documentation. It's fine. At least it shows, or rather, let me not even defend him. What it means is that he has seen that his intimidation is not working.
Yes,
so now let's go legally.
Yes.
Let's demand for a document. And then the response from his team also, I think that was Lere Olayinka. I don't know who. I'm not sure. But that shows that they didn't even want peace. They already planned to intimidate these people.
Yes.
For you to bash trying to escalate the whole matter, probably, who knows, maybe they wanted to even take it violently, but then they saw the other team and
and do you know, there was another interesting thing that I witnessed in that video. I was seeing Wike and his team, because of the fact that they've gone the route of trying to intimidate this military personnel, and they see that it is not working, and they are now trying to more like cause havoc in such a way that it will now, the narrative in the media, or rather entirely, will now be that the army personnel, the military personnel, were kind of fighting them because of the fact that they are armed. Yes, they will now play the victim. That was exactly what I was seeing. And I love the fact that the military personnel stood on their ground. And there was one thing Wike said before he left. He said, "Let me see how you will develop the land." It is that same intimidation that he's talking. You understand? Does it mean that the fact that you have a land, because you are not maybe in cahoots, or you're not in a cordial relationship with the FCT minister, you cannot actually erect a building in FCT? It is crazy to hear. To be honest,
it speaks of intimidation so much, and this is something we see every day in Nigeria. We need to hold these public officers accountable. How can you be intimidating people? I just remember that when he was leaving, when he saw that he couldn't do anything again, he was saying, "Let me see how you develop this."
Let me see how
how can a sitting minister be saying such things?
And then, let me just say something. In as much as we love, for me, I love what just happened right now. We already know that the rule of the military is kind of to protect, the lives of people, is security on its own, and not related to landed properties. It was actually wrong for them to protect the land of that man, to be honest with you. It is not in their in their what's it called, their line of work. But yes, but the thing, yes, there was exactly. So I love at the end of the day, I love the fact that if you want to go power, if you want to go authority, I still have authority to. You have police, you may have been the FCT minister, but I have exactly. So
we can go band for band over here. I see that this round is starting with a lot of basketballs with the FCT minister Nyesom Wike saying he's not backing down, and the security officer not backing down as well in that now gone viral video. It just shows the state of things over here in Nigeria with power, influence, and intimidation. Exactly. Now the battle is between the one that has the higher power. We saw in that video making Wike making a call, a phone call, and a lot of people were commenting, oh, we thought it was the president. It was funny. So it would have been funny to see the president land there and just everybody leave But yes, it is interesting to see this type of things. We have to hold these people accountable. Exactly. Ask the questions that needs to be asked. Demand for documents that needs to be demanded. And when these things are not provided, we know who to hold. Exactly. Anyways, if you're watching for the first time, this is Active Citizens Parliament, where we discuss Nigerian politics right here in Active Citizens. And my name is Sharon Enemchuku, your host. I don't do this alone. I have with me here my co-host in person of Ifoma Oji, and our analyst and guest in person of Mr. Ugochukwu Afuba. Thank you both once again for always joining me in the studio. And to our viewers, thank you as always for joining. And if you're yet to subscribe, please make sure to do that right away and follow us across all social media at Active Citizens. You can find me across all social media as well at Sharon Enemchuku. If you have any story you want us to share, let us know. And Ifoma,
you can find me on Facebook at Oji Sophia and on Instagram at Misolex.
Mr. Ugochukwu.
You can find me on Instagram, X, and Facebook at Ugochukwu Afoba.
All right, you've heard it right here on Active Citizens Parliament. Till we come your way again tomorrow. Do have a blissful evening.